Welcome to Near Falls with D. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. We're talking Near Falls with D. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, so excited. This is the best time of year. My favorite project of the year, the 24-25 WPIAL Coaches Preview. So excited to bring this to you guys. I have a bunch of different coaches coming on from across the WPIAL. They're going to come on, talk about their schedule, expectations, up-and-comers, their leaders, their seniors, all that type of stuff. You guys know the drill. This is year 3 or 4 of me doing it. So pumped up to bring it to you guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and just hope you enjoy listening to these guys talk like I did. It was always a blast for me, and this year was no different. So without further ado, welcome in to the WPIAL Coaches Preview.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where D.R. and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny, where be at Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
Joining me next on the call, we have head coach of Seneca Valley High School, Mr. Kevin Wildrick. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Super pumped up to have you on as always. Third or fourth time. I love the beanie, man. That's slick.
A little mix up. The hair's a little wily right now, so you got to do something to keep it under control.
I hear you. No, it's a good, man. It looks good on you for sure. So let's just dive right into it. Talk to me about your alumni. You guys for years had one of the best programs in the WPIAL. I know you got a bunch of dudes still rolling around. So talk to about not rolling around doing big things other than, wrestling as well. So, just talk about your alumni group.
Yeah, we have an exciting group kind of out there, and, from our past and a little bit of success going on there. There's a lot of guys still out banging heads out in college, which is making me feel real old that there's this many still out there right now, and then some pretty, decent underclassmen still at this point. But, at W&J, Hunter Swedish and Nikki Funovitz are still rolling there and doing good. I think Hunter's one of their captains this year, which is pretty cool. Penn State Barron, which is a newer program. We have one of our alumni, and Andrew Mazur's wrestling there. He's a guy that didn't even start wrestling until sophomore year. He just walked in and said, yeah, somebody told me I look like a wrestler, so I give it a try. And
let's go.
College, Liam Boatcloss rocking over at American. He had a pretty big win the other night to edge them by Clarion, which is pretty cool. Chapel over Tyler Chapel at Pitt. Putting some time in and working right now. Jason Geyer at NYU is actually, he's done wrestling, but he is a volunteer assistant coach this year, which is kind of cool out there. So doing the business thing in New York City and helping out coach, which is pretty neat. Alejandro is still at Clarion, rocking and rolling there. Dylan Chapel, rocking at Bucknell. Had a real tight one with the number 5 in the country fairly recent, which is kind of cool. And Connor Smith is our last right now, just starting at Columbia. So it's pretty cool that I had to write some notes to make sure I don't miss or forget about somebody. And you know what I mean? And
fantastic problem.
About that. It's awesome.
Fantastic problem, my friend. I mean, to make sure that you got everyone, that means that you guys had a lot of, nice runs, great deal of success, all those things. So talk to me about this year's team off-season program. What's it look like for you guys? Do you guys meet? Do you send them to club? How's that work for you guys?
It's a little bit of everything depending on, the person. we have another alumni that's actually coaching with us, Lewis Newell, that was pretty successful in his own right. And I'm amazed just watching him in the room when he jumps in and wrestles a little bit still. I'm like, God, he's still so good. Just like things that he does, just kind of natural athletic reaction.
Awesome. He's so good.
And he's such a nice kid. So having him in the room back helping us is awesome. Having that resource off season, we do a little bit in the summer. We're going consistently, at least a day a week in the summer. Getting the guys in, a little bit of wrestling, just kind of open room format to get them to hopefully, keep the dust knocked off, offer some opportunity for them. There's guys at Nashville already going to clubs, anywhere from Gladiators to OMP to, some going up north a little bit and rocking up at Reynolds a little bit. So we got kind of guys here and there working all over the place. And then, preseason, we did a few days a week to get everybody ready for this upcoming season. Again, that's where we're at with that. The one thing I found right now is that, and I found this every year, I guess, but more than not this year, it's a tough sport for some young men to stick with through their whole high school and, career. It gets tough, and we now know
it's a grind, man. It's a meat grinder of a sport, my friend.
It is. And we were joking that it's, we don't even know, myself and Jake Calvin, my assistant, who you know pretty well, talk about, even when we look back to high school, we think, I don't know if I ever was like super excited about a wrestling season coming up, but you just kind of were like, all right, here we go. You know what I mean? Here's the next one. Let's get after it. You kind of embrace that toughness of it. And I don't know if there's just so many other things going on, but, people are kind of opting for other things, or just a combination of, different reasons why.
I think it's a true fact, man. I think across the, I'm hearing some numbers up, some numbers down, but I would say mostly numbers down across the board. I think there's a lot of things to attribute to that. I think the main factor is, just straight up kids aren't the same as what they used to be. You know what I mean? There's so many ways that you can say the reason why that is, but it's the facts. You know what I mean? So, and wrestling is a hard sport. Like, I love the golfing and wrestling are two different animals. You know what I mean? So, right. Going out and whacking a golf ball where getting your head caved in and trying to survive sometimes, it's a different animal for sure.
No, it's so much different. I mean, I have no issues with football at all, but like to compare it as far as to be the backup, or, maybe a fringe starter in football, or even a backup guy, your week is not that hard. You run some scout, you're on the sideline, you get to wear the jersey, everybody knows you're on the team. If you're on the wrestling team, the kid that's, competing in the WPIAL and going to states, you're doing the same workout. You might be working out with that with that kid, getting beat up a little bit.
So true.
It's so tough. You know what I mean? You're doing the same thing. So, I mean, numbers wise, we're actually high school wise, we're a little bit down depending on what we do with some of our ninth graders. But we are like crazy up other than that, like huge, like 40 kids, 7th and 8th grade.
It's awesome.
And so my ninth grade group, I'm just trying to hopefully get some toughness out of some of them and wanting and willingness to come up and hit that grind for us this year, so we don't have any holes. It's crazy the size of school that we're at that we're even worried about that, but it's the life we're in. It might have like 4 guys at 152 and you're looking for that 20 pounder. You know what I mean? It's just
classic middleweight meat grinder, the middleweight, the clog for sure. Talk to me about, some of those seniors, some of those leader guys that you've recognized in the room.
Well, here's what I have: one senior right now. He is a guy that wrestled for me and did pretty well, but hasn't wrestled the last 2 years. So he's coming back this year. Last year, he was going to come back and broke his finger and had to have surgery right at the end of football, literally the last game of the season. And so he's back this year, ready to rock. He's a big guy. He's a 215-pounder. Landon Davis is his name.
Nice.
Super excited. He was pretty successful, did well as last year in 9th grade for junior high or for, middle school. And now Tommy Wycheck, is getting a little bit bigger and is going to be a smaller 285. and has a nice big, senior to work out with him, strong guy. And he's very positive, and he's a nice influence to have come into the room. Brody Pert would have been one of my other seniors, but through some nagging injuries and his future being college golf, he's kind of taken that route to get himself healthy. He just can't, the grind is too much for some of his aches and pains and injury.
I will say, if I had an option to go golf in college or go wrestle in college, I would probably pick golf. Just saying. Hot take out there. I have a wrestling podcast, but I'm just saying.
I went baseball. I had the choice. You know what I mean? I went baseball.
Yeah.
It was.
Yep. I get it.
Tough,
for sure. Talk to me on the other side of that coin. Freshmen, newcomers, guys that you just mentioned someone that's popping in your lineup. Give me a guy that maybe we look up at the end of the WPIALs or sections and say, hey man, that guy's making a run there for Seneca Valley.
I mean, I'm hoping Tommy's that guy. He doesn't have his stats aren't going to blow you off the page from the last couple of years, but he's a very athletic, football kid that wrestles and he's been committed to wrestling. He's done some off-season wrestling and stayed with it. He hasn't just, shown up in the season or anything. And I think he's that kid that can take that next jump. You never know in some of those upper weights at 285, anybody can go on a run, at the WPIAL tournament kind of thing. But I think he's definitely got that potential to kind of take that big jump from being a 500 wrestler that you kind of look on thinking he's better than that, but that's kind of where he's been. I think he can take that next leap for sure. I think Riley Smith, if we can keep getting some weight gainer on the poor kid and get him a little closer to 107, he's going to be a sophomore and still a little bit undersized.
He's still undersized as a sophomore, dude.
Dude, he was in the 80s last year wrestling for us.
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, well, some college is going to get a lifetime 125 pounder. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think of like Kurt McHenry with how little he was, going through senior year of high school. But he's just a little bit smaller, but he grinds and scraps, and he's a great kid to have out there for you. So he's going to make another kid, Bryce Barrick-Sazy, that we bring up to work out with him as a 9th grader. And I think those two will probably be a little tandem, 107, even 113, depending on matchups and stuff, and I think that it'll be a good environment for both of them this year.
Schedule. What's it look like for you guys this year? Have you changed it up at all? Is it the same? What's it look like?
We've definitely changed it up a little bit. I try to adjust, and I'm not saying I want to like bring my schedule down to whatever level I think the team might be at, but keep it appropriate where I'm not destroying, guys that aren't necessarily at the level of going, I think the one year we went, Cumberland Valley right into King of the Mountain, right into Powerade, right into, it was just a lot and we were kind of like in a flux in between, and it was a little bit too much for some, not enough for others. We're in a weird spot. We have a few kids on the team that need that extra push. I think Zach Hill has the potential to really break out this year too, and to get him the opportunity.
Zach Hill, man. I like Zach Hill. He's a freak, athletic freak.
Yeah, he is. We joke that he's kind of we call him our caveman. He's kind of like a modern day, just like I'm good. I want leg, I get leg. And he just.
I love that. That's great.
But no, he's a great kid, and so trying to get a schedule that's appropriate for him, and along with the rest of the team, that we don't blow people out of the water. So, I was kind of given the option to stick with Powerade or not from Frank, and we opted not this year, just kind of knowing where Powerade keeps climbing and where we're not right now. Hopefully we're back in a spot in a few years that we knock on Frank's door to get back in. But we're starting off the season out at John Marshall at a duels in West Virginia. I think McGuffey might be the only other local team that went out to that last year, just for a little variety. And then out the Panther Classic for for our individual tournament. That might be one of the tougher ones we hit this year, because that one, was pretty brutal last year as far as only getting 2 guys or 3 guys placing, into that second day. And then we're going a little bit of a break over the holidays. We're going to jump into the Bow Wood out at Indiana. It seems to have a good variety of talent for us. And then we jump out to Brook, the Brook Ferguson out in West Virginia tournament, which is kind of cool because you see really good top talent from West Virginia. And it gives our guys a true appreciation of how good the WPIAL is when, we're going toe to toe with the West Virginia State place winners or knocking off, West Virginia State champs and things like that. So it's a fun tournament to go to, and they do a nice job with it.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's down there in the OVAC. The OVAC's definitely got some sneaky guys in it, and not far from me. So yeah, Brooks definitely got a little spot down there for sure. Okay, next thing I have room games. What you guys get into over there at Seneca? I believe one of you guys, was it last year? No, go ahead, give it to me.
No. We're like the professional handball crew.
That's right. You had the nets, right?
Yeah, we did. I may have went on Facebook Marketplace and gotten some nets.
Let's go.
And I forget who I was talking to back in the day. It might have been Heater from Kiski back in the day, talking about like as they were making some of those runs, when they were crazy good, and not that I'm sure they're going to be crazy good again, right? They always are, but when they're at that hitting the state runs, and we kind of started getting there with them, we talked about how much we were breaking it up a little bit in the room and not, beating up the guys as much and adding in some different games and stuff like that. And handball kind of became part of that, but we've had to shift a little bit to, you got to earn that handball. It's not just, the nets shouldn't just show up in the room, they got to stay in the hallway, and we think we earned it, or, as a reward, we get it out. But, we have a little more work to do than normal, I think, right now. But, if they stay moving, it's a good cardio, good hustle, and it's a fun game. We keep it safe where we're not ripping each other's shoulders off and things like that. But it still has a tendency to turn into a wrestling version of handball, obviously.
No way. Wrestlers getting competitive, I would have never thought.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And no, I love the nets stay in the back idea. That's good stuff, man. For sure. All right, next thing I got on the list, social medias. How can we follow your squad?
Our squad, what is our social media? It'd be good to know. SV Wrestling, I believe, is our Instagram. That's probably the big one. We have a Friends of Seneca Valley Facebook group that, we'll live stream matches to and things like that. But that Instagram is probably the biggest one, following wise. We have our just regular webpage. It's svwrestling.com also. That has some info and stats and history on there. But we're also takedown level changer folks, as far as when we're going live on that, as much live as you can go with the live tracking of the matches and stuff like that. But that's where we're at, social media.
Cool. Give me your goals and expectations that you have for the squad.
I think we're kind of going back a little bit where we started a little bit as far as we're just trying to build some grit right now in the room, get our group tough. If we're not going to be the most talented and the world beaters necessarily, we at least want to get out there and have all of our guys compete, every match, and have it be like, wow, like I don't even know that kid's name, and he was a real pain in the neck when I just wrestled him, so we want our guys just, fundamentally sound and ready to go and just be a tough wrestler.
For sure. All right, my friend. I don't think I have anything else for you. Anything you want to shout out, or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
I'd be remiss if I think I forgot last year. I give my boy Jamie Curiasis over at NA a little shout out. He got me the start in this joyful coaching in Western Pennsylvania when I walked into his room and looked at the wall and went, I think these guys are pretty good. New York kid oblivious to who North Allegheny even was. It was awesome. But he's a great level-headed dude that I rely on for some, advice when I'm struggling with things or trying to work something out. So, and I think a lot of what I do follows after him, and kind of policies and procedures and stuff like that I saw back when I coached with him. So.
Very cool, man. Good shout out indeed. And for me, I guess, tell Jake to keep grinding on the comedy stuff. I love it, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, he is awesome. He's a good time. the comedy stuff. He's kicked that back up a little bit more. So,
and I'll tell you, I'm not surprised by it at all. Like, I didn't know he was a comedian, but whenever I seen him up on stage and, he posted a video, I'm like, that dude, no, not a surprise at all. I mean, he's just got that mentality. He's hilarious. So it's good stuff.
Absolutely.
My man, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me. And, I'm sure I'll see you real soon.
For sure, man. Thank you very much for having me again. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.